I think this lecture is going to be fascinating for us. Of course, as always, you can find the lecture afterwards in our Slack. So for those of you who missed it, don't worry. And Zviya, thank you for joining, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I remember the first meeting. There were many more. I hope they haven't dropped, but entrepreneurship is difficult, right? And doing your own thing is extremely difficult, being proactive. So well done, everyone, for being here today. And well, it is a pleasure and an honor to speak with you. So today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts while working with a big corporate. And I'm going to talk mainly on our point of view, which is the corporate. Okay, obviously, there are many reasons why we could work with you and how, but still, I'm sorry, my kids are making noise, but in a few minutes it will be quieter. Okay, so so we're going to talk about from corporates, big corporate point of view. And I know this is only the beginning, so why should we bother with this question at all? I mean, okay, we still, well, you've been through ideation and business plan, and there is a long way before you could reach out for a big corporate, but still, I believe it is important to have it in mind, and we'll speak about this today. We'll speak about why now, what is the recipe for a successful partnership, and at the end, we will talk about the do's and don'ts of working with a big corporate. And obviously, if you have any questions, you could use either the chat or just ask me, which is okay with me. Okay, so let's start. Wait a second. Okay, I'll do it this way. Okay, so this is me, just in short, a very short bio with more than 25 years of hands-on experience in innovation and innovation to big corporates and startup companies. If you cannot hear me, because we had today many technical difficulties, so just let me know and I'll see what I can do. So this slide is just to show you that I'm quite capable of speaking with you, since I have some experience doing that stuff, both from the regulator side, the startup side, and the corporate side. So for the past 5 years or so, I've been working with with two of Israel's biggest corporates. One is the Israel Aerospace Industry, $5 billion company, mainly working in the defense industry. Wow. You've been telling your colleagues how great the presentation is, so everybody is joining us. Thank you, everyone. So, and for the past year and a half, I've been with Israel Electric Company, and we'll speak about IEC, Israel Electric Company, in a minute. Okay, wow. Okay, so this is IEC, Israel Electric Corporate or Company, depends how, in which paper you read it. Well, actually, Israel is, well, very unique. Up until recently, IEC had a full monopoly in all sectors. Even today, we have 2.9 million customers. Israel's population is 9 million people. And with 16 power stations and 12.8 gigawatt installed capacity of gigawatts. It's another $5 billion company, and it's, well, I'm saying it's Israel's main electricity provider, but well, if you look at it in 10 years from now, it would still be Israel's main provider, although we are going through a big, major structural reform, meaning that we need to change everything. And my role hasn't been at the company, so I came and I had to form it from scratch. We need to have innovation because suddenly we've got competition. This is where you come in. We've got competition. We're not used to innovation. We're a big corporate and we are a process company, meaning that we don't know a lot about inventing stuff. We don't invent products. We provide electricity 24/7. How do you bridge that gap between being very serious and boring even, you know, electricity, it is, well, a commodity, right? Between that and between innovation and the fact that our whole landscape is changing and becoming competitive, and we need to check ourselves using a business KPI. So this is IEC. And obviously, if one of you has something to do with electricity and the electricity market, some ideas about that, I'd be happy to hear about that later. So now we're starting. Oops, I'm sorry. A moment. Okay, so why now? Is this the time? I mean, I guess, well, from what I've understood at the beginning, most of you don't even have, well, perhaps you do have by now, but you didn't have any prototype, you didn't have an MVP. You were playing with ideas, with business models. Is this the time? Especially with, I'm coming now from the utilities, the utility industry. We buy products, we don't buy ideas, right? I told you, we provide electricity. It's that boring thing. And so, what do we do? What do we do? Why should you even bother with thinking of working with a corporate, right? Well, first of all, you should develop your product. You should start thinking about your business model. You should do some lab tests. You should talk with potential customers, and then later go to a corporate, right? So why now is the time? Because, and I have this time for action, because when you talk to a corporate, you meet the pains. Before I came to IC, okay, I knew that electricity market is going through a major revolution, blah, blah, blah. The 4, 5, 6, 10 Ds, decarbonization, democratization, decentralization, another Ds. But I didn't really understand the pains, the challenges. The pains that every employee understands, because he or she needs to meet them every day, because we understand what really hurts us. So this is the first reason. When you talk to a corporate, and you never talk to a corporate, obviously you talk to people, you understand the pains. And then you start thinking, is my idea good enough? Would it solve that pain? Then you validate your idea and you modify it according to this validation. This is the second phase of understanding the pain. Should this work? And I can tell you that I was a CEO of a startup company which had developed an environmentally friendly gasoline, diesel oil actually. And that was a really cool technology. Really, I haven't met such a technology since I've been there. And we had fundraised $8 million. So the investors also believed in us. And we were working in the lab and developing the fuel, the diesel oil. Unfortunately, I was very young at that time, so I'm telling you here about my mistake. We haven't talked with corporates. We've talked only with big oil companies. We haven't talked with the car manufacturers. So we had a great idea which the market didn't need. This is a real story, and a real. I still feel the pain. So we were working for 3.5 years on something that the market did not want, was not ready to, and has developed already different solutions. The pain was there, but our solution did not have a fit with it. So that's the second thing. And then you create partnerships. When you start talking with a big corporate, this corporate might become a strategic partner, which is even better than investors. And we'll talk about that a little later. You create partnerships. You start when you, as I said, you talk with people. When you talk with people, they have ideas. You can A, reshape your idea. B, they know other people because they are the experts. So they help you meet other people. They help you meet investors, and it's really good to bring them along. You start creating an ecosystem around your idea. And everybody understands this is just the beginning. But okay, not every corporate, but some corporates, or many corporates, depends where you live, would be happy to explore ideas with you. And believe it or not, I haven't written it down, but in the next lecture I would. Don't be afraid to reveal your secrets. If you need to, sign an NDA. But if somebody wants to steal your idea, they would steal it, even if they have signed an NDA. Most corporates are willing to pay. It's easier for us than develop it ourselves. So just have this in mind. We don't steal ideas usually, most of us. We prefer buying them. And at the end, and you see this is in caps lock, you get ahead of competition because you are already in the process with a big corporate. Even if you meet them once in every 3 or 4 months, or even 6 months. And this is what we need. Okay, and I need to, I really love this quote, and it is really important. I'm sure you have seen it before. It is from Alice in Wonderland. But this is very true for every startup company, for every idea, and this is part of what I'm saying, that you have to get ahead of the competition. Now here you see it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that. So if you want the secret recipe to getting ahead of competition, speaking and working with a corporate, even at a very early stage, gives you that recipe, gets you to run twice as fast. as your competitors. Let's see if I... Okay, so the recipe for success, I always say there needs to be a 3-win, win-win-win. 1 win for the startup. And we'll talk a little about that later. Well, you know, if it takes too much time and costs you too much money, and actually you don't see the benefits of working with a corporate, then it's not a win. So you have to win to do that. Then there needs to be a win for the corporate. Why should the corporate or people in the corporate talk with you? What is your secret sauce that would convince them to talk with you? Can you think? Just, you know, think about your idea, your product. Why should you talk with them? And then the last win, the 3rd win, is the other stakeholders. What are we solving? Who are the other stakeholders? Perhaps the corporate doesn't give a damn, excuse my French, regarding that pain or the solution, because there are many pains and we cannot really solve all of them. And sometimes, I'll give you an example, okay? This is very interesting in electricity in Israel. In Israel, we're still not punished for CO2 emissions, okay? We don't need to pay yet. We know that in the near future, we'll have to pay fines, but not yet. However, we also understand that our customers are really concerned about that. If they're concerned, this is the other stakeholders, perhaps we should be concerned, even if it just costs us money. So sometimes you need to compel the story, and I know you had storytelling. You have to build it around the stakeholders and show the corporate why they need you to solve a pain with the stakeholders, although the corporate doesn't see the pain as important as you see it. Okay, now we go to the do's and don'ts. Any question?
If I may.
Yes, of course. Hi, Martin.
Hi, Zviya. Since you mentioned it, I was interested in the carbon policy of Israel, if there is some ambition like a European Union has or Great Britain has to decarbonize by 2050, or how does it work? Okay,
this is, well, is it okay with everyone that I would answer that question? Because it has nothing to do with the presentation, but I'm more than willing to answer it. Okay, so I'll answer it. I'll wait for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm answering the question. Okay. Yes and no, obviously. Not as ambitious as the EU, but ambitious. And I'll explain what I mean by that. As we speak, Israel has around 5% of a share of 5% in renewable energy, 5-7%. Okay, this is like nothing compared with the EU, and it means that we have to do a long way before we even get to the current state of the EU. And as I said, there is a big restructuring process within the IEC and the regulators. So for us, for instance, IEC is not allowed to provide any renewable energy installations. So only private companies can do it, which is okay. This is part of the deal. And so, okay, so you'd say, well, Israel is not in a very good place. However, by 2030, Israel's goal is to have a 30% share of renewable energy. So this is really a really ambitious goal. If by 2021 it's around 7%. And the second goal is that by 2030 or 2031, depends who you ask, gas-based cars would not be allowed to sell, only EVs. So only EVs would be allowed to to be sold here in Israel as new cars. That means, as I said, that there is a big revolution. I didn't want to get into it. We understand that the future is here, okay? It's now, and it's happening. And in 10 years, we would have to supply more electricity with extremely diverse resources. and you have to remember that Israel is very sunny. It means that most of our renewable energy would come from the sun. And unfortunately, during the night, there is no sun. I'm sure you've noticed that. And so this is a big challenge. So that is why we have started the innovation unit. Actually, a whole new division was established. It is called Strategy, Innovation, and Restructuring Process. And within that, under the senior VP, there's my unit and myself. And as I said, we started from scratch in 2020, January 2020, 2 months before the pandemic has erupted. And since then, as you can see, I've been working from home, and we'll talk a bit about the accomplishments. And by the way, I feel that COVID-19 is providing us all with great opportunities, especially for innovation and for startup companies and for people who have brilliant ideas. So if somebody tells you otherwise, don't listen, really. Okay, so let's start with the do's and don'ts. You're welcome. Okay. So I would start with the don'ts, because I remember I read once that you tend to remember the last thing people told you during presentation. So I'll start with the negatives and we'll finish with the positives. Okay, don't fall in love with your product or your idea. I'm sure everybody told you that, but this is extremely difficult when you talk to a potential customer. And we can be quite rude because we are a big corporate. In Israeli terms, we are, as I said, one of the largest. We have approximately 1,200 employees. So we've seen many products before. And as employees in every corporate, we feel that we know everything. Okay, so I know that is very difficult. However, okay, I'm new at the company, but most people have been working there for 20 or 30 years. They have really seen everything. Really. They really understand what they're talking about, because this is their job. They're doing it for so many years. So they know what they're talking about, really. And if they tell you something would not work, perhaps they're wrong, because, okay, they're conservative and they work for a big company, and if they had such a great state of mind and the entrepreneurial spirit, they would have done it, right? Instead of you doing it. But still, listen. Okay, this is a don't thing, but I'm just giving you, just listen. Sometimes we fall in love with our ideas and our products. And as I said at the beginning, we don't truly understand the pains of a company. And this is very important. instead of falling in love. Or, okay, fall in love with your product. I wouldn't tell you what to do, but listen and think about the pains of the corporate, and try to help us help you. Because I said we can be very rude, but we're not rude because we enjoy it. Okay, we just, you know, we've seen that, we've been there. Zviya from Innovation is has scheduled yet another meeting, and so, you know, but still listen to people and think of what they say. Perhaps they're right. Perhaps your idea or project or product could get better by changing it, by pivoting it. And perhaps it doesn't worth it. Okay, that's okay. Okay. Money is not an issue. I know money is always an issue with everyone, but still, you don't come to a corporate to get money. Unless you come to a CVC, a corporate venture capital. You know what it is? You've learned that? Yes? No? Okay. Perhaps. Okay. So if you come to a corporate to get money, so don't listen to that advice, because many corporates have an investment fund which invests in companies. But if you just come to corporate and you want to work with a corporate, not just get funded, then money should not be an issue. You have to secure other resources. If you get some money, that's great. If you get a lot of money, that's even better. But what you get from a corporate is much more. You get advice, you get expertise, you get people's honest opinion. As I said, it could be sometimes rude. You get their time. And I can tell you that 1 hour of an IEC employee costs me $100 US dollars, okay? So you get money, you just don't see it. Obviously, it doesn't land in your pocket, but still, you get a lot. So think how you can maximize talking with a corporate before even working with a corporate. Not thinking of money. What is the value that a corporate would give you? I'll give you an example. Back in July, I believe, in July 2020, we have met with a really nice company, an Israeli company. It came from the defense industry. Actually, I met with them when I was in my previous, with my previous employee. Really nice company that uses a fiber cable to for security. Okay, so they came to us and we said, nah, we don't need that. Thank you, but we're not a military camp. Okay, critical infrastructure, but we do have our security measures. That's not of interest for us. And actually, they've been around for the past 3 years, not being too successful. But we started talking, and remember, we were 5 people with them, so they got $500 just to start with. And we were thinking, what if we use your technology to perform some health monitoring on our transformers? That could be interesting. And our grid, because in Israel and in many parts of the world, there is some optic fiber on the grid anyway. So perhaps we could use some bandwidth to and use it. I can tell you that that company, it's called Prism of Photonics, a really nice company, is doing a big pilot with us at the moment. And they got also funds from the Innovation Authority of Israel, a few million shekels, because they could show that there was a strategic partner that was interested in the idea. We have worked and built the project together. And we're showing interesting results. I cannot tell you it is a success, but it has just started. So that is what they're getting. They're not getting any money from us, but they could secure funds because they were talking to us because we were building a project together. So just think what would give you value. Corporates, yes, they can also bring you money. And by the way, sometimes this is some sort of a poisonous apple, getting money from a corporate. I mean, through investment, because if, let's say, you do something for the beverage, you have a new idea for the beverage industry, not energy. Okay? And you start talking with Coca-Cola, and they're interested and they invest in you. However, when you, one moment, okay? Okay. And then you continue working with them, and you need to change the product. You don't believe in it anymore. The market is not ready for it. You do a pivot, and you need to, you understand that it was all a mistake, and you need to change, and you need to change fast because now you understand what you really needed to do. It happens. What then? What do you do? Now, if Coca-Cola finds out, okay, they can tell you, okay, go and fetch a new investment, or they can close you down because you don't achieve your milestones and KPIs. So you understand, or they can just say, we don't want to be investors anymore. We would like to buy out, get us a new investor. And you need to get an investor in 90 days, otherwise the company is closed. So think very carefully whether you'd like to, a big corporate to invest in you. And if the corporate doesn't even have the opportunity, think what would be the right value to get from a corporate. Because the value is the most important thing. Money just gets you from A to B, but you can get money from other resources as well. Okay, so now let's talk about the do's. Any questions? No. Okay. Business etiquette. So this is the do. I understand that startup companies, because I've been in startups, are small companies, and I understand that you don't have much resources, especially when I just told you not to ask for money from corporates. But still, you have to be very serious. Meaning that if we give you time, we would like to get a response. So responsiveness and seriousness, they go together, because it takes time. We haven't talked about the cycle of working with corporates. There is here patience. You need to be very patient when you work with a corporate. Why is that? because we are slow. Just think of a super tanker. Just think of Ever Given, the big tanker, the big cargo ship in the Suez tunnel. It was stuck because it was too big for the tunnel. So just think of us. We are a super tanker just sailing in the ocean, and you coming with your excellent, really brilliant idea. But it means that if we want to implement the idea, think about the idea, work about the idea, we need to change our mindset, change perhaps our infrastructure, change the way we do things, change our processes, change our digital systems, etc., etc., etc. It also means that there is a hierarchy. The great thing about startups is that you rarely have any hierarchy or very little hierarchy. But in big corporates, I'm sure you all know, there's a lots of hierarchy. So every rank needs to get his or her boss's permission or okay for stuff. So it takes time. And then obviously we have the lawyers. And lawyers, when lawyers can say no, they would say no. Even if they have to say yes, they would first start with a no. This is how they're born. But this is part of the trade. They need to take care of the organization, the corporate. So they would stop us and think and rethink and then rethink. So be patient, but when we ask a question, to answer that question in depth. Show us that you really appreciate the time that we took to ask that question. Most of us would not ask you questions just for fun. Most of us would not want to waste your time asking stupid questions. We really need to know. And as I said, we have past experience. So perhaps our questions look stupid, but they come from, years of experience, and we understand that. I'd like to have some coffee too. Okay, would you like to continue? I'll go and fetch some coffee. Okay, so be responsive, be serious. I know a don't is with the don'ts, but it's just the opposite. Don't disappear. I had so many cases with great startups that they just disappeared suddenly because somebody, I don't know, looked better, was handsome, was more handsome. I'm just kidding you, but really, I mean, okay, we're talking, we think you're great, we would like to continue researching, thinking, and then the startup disappears. And they don't even answer the email. Now, perhaps today you don't need me. Perhaps you got a really good proposal from, today I'm at the electricity business, so from Enel, from NIPA, whatever, okay, from various other richer, bigger electricity utilities. This is really great. I'm really happy for you. Just send me an email saying, well, Zviya, it was really great to know you, but it's not you, it's us, whatever. Just let us know. Because let's say something doesn't work out. Let's say you'd need another sandbox. Say you'd have, you keep working, you're successful, it's really great, but you have you know, something that we said 2-3 years ago really stuck to your mind, and you just suddenly think, wow, there's a really good idea for a product here. And you get to NL or NIPA or any of these companies, and you say, you know, I have a new idea. They say, wow, we're not interested. And then, well, perhaps Zvia would be interested, but Zvia remembers, corporates remember. We do have some sort of an organizational memory. So just let us know, don't disappear. Say, you know, thank you, it was really great, I learned a lot. However, easier, it would take you 2 minutes if you send an email. If you do me the honor and call me, it would take you 5 minutes. But there's a really good sentence in Hebrew. I don't know how to translate it. One of my earliest mentors told it, as I always said it, it's לא הכל פרסונלי, חלק גם אישי. Not everything is personal, some stuff is also personal. Everything is personal at the end of the day, even with corporates. Because if we didn't have a good experience, and you say, yeah, I know, I wasn't fair with Zvia. I wouldn't call Zvia this time, I would call, I don't know, Sylvia or Ron or whatever. They go and they check whom in the organization you've been in touch with. They would ask that person. If it is a good corporate, if it is not a good corporate, not really good, let's say organized corporate, then you don't know, perhaps you got away with it. But that wouldn't happen all the time. And then at the end, just have the grit, because, okay, we are employees, we work in a big corporate, we're tired, we don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, blah, 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 blah. However, we love seeing people with grit. Do you know what grit is? Has somebody talked with you about that? Okay, so look it up, it's really nice, and there's an only 15-minute a TED talk about it, also a big book. So you could choose. Grit is the combination of passion and, let's say, stubbornness, or we love seeing it. We love people with a passion for what they do. So we let you convince us. Okay, not all of us, told you, some of us are rude, but most of us, because we work in innovation, because we have a passion for innovation, for new technologies, for solutions. And we understand, so your personality is important. Have passion about what you do. Be persistent. And get us to listen to you. So this is the first thing. Okay, second. Do your homework. Study the market, understand the pains. Even if you don't know them beforehand, talk with us. Understand what makes the corporate tick. Why we should work with you and not with your competitor. Get recommendations about us. Should we work with IC? Are they good? Are they fair? Are they fast enough? Would my project be implemented there? Get recommendations, get referrals. And also check the innovation programs, because they're very different. Perhaps you'd get more in one place than in another. Perhaps different places would be good for different stages. So for early stage, you'd go with X, and for more advanced stages, you'd go with Y. That's okay as well. And the devil is in the details. So they're always saying God is in the details, and I totally agree. You need to have a clear program, and you need to know the duration, and you need to have milestones and also KPIs. So you need to understand what would be measured as success and what would not. If you look at the expression, the devil is in the details, it means that there are so many details and something could go wrong, and obviously it would go wrong. And the program is nice, but we have to understand, as with always in the landscape or ecosystem of innovation, if something has to go wrong, it will go wrong, it would take more time, it would cost us more money, and perhaps we would get somewhere else than we even intended to. But get to understand what is expected from you, from your product. When you get to the POC, the proof of concept or the pilot, what the corporate would like to see. Is it just a proof of concept that it works? What would happen then? Ask the corporate. If I bring you a BC, what would you do? If we get to that milestone, what would happen? Don't ask for promises, but you have to understand how the organization ticks, how it works. So you have to look into the details, understand them very clearly, understand where things can get wrong, and understand they would probably get wrong. And you remember the last slide, the persistence, as then you need to be persistent and continue your goal and understand the KPIs. I know that I'm repeating myself, but this is extremely important to have a plan and to get the corporate on the same page with you on that plan. Because you remember I told you not to ask for money, so the corporate is not committed, let's say. You do everything, and then at the end, the corporate said, well, it was really nice knowing you. Let's have coffee sometime. I said, what the heck? We've been working for 6 months together. What's now? And I had that with a big corporate. Actually, it was IEC many years ago, the company I work for now. I had a really great project with IEC. I even presented it for the board of directors. And it was like, boom, okay? I was intended to come for 15 minutes, and after an hour, people were still asking questions, and I felt like I was in heaven. We're going to succeed big time. Really, life is brilliant. And then I came home, and nothing happened. And I waited a day, couple of days, 3, 4, and after a week and a half, I was calling my contact, and I was saying, well, what's next? And he said, there's no next. That was like 10 years ago, okay? How come we don't have any next? It was like brilliant. Yes, that is true, but there is no decision. Yeah, they were really interested, but they got no decision. We didn't ask for them to decide anything. So understand what could happen next. I always tell, startup companies and innovators, entrepreneurs, they don't want to sign any agreements. And I understand that because, I've been there as well. But I always say 100% from zero is still zero. I don't ask you to give up your IP. Don't do that. It's really bad with a corporate. If the corporate doesn't have an investment fund to give part of your IP, because that's the only thing you really own. But if you have a contract, some sort of commercialization contract with the corporate, and this is the details, that could be really good. Because if I tell the corporate, you know, for every system we develop together and you sell or I sell to another utility, you get 5%, 10%, 15%. Oh, that's interesting. That sounds like an interesting deal. Or if I say, you know, if we do it today, you get a preferred customer, you become a preferred customer, and we would sell you the product in, let's say, cost plus 20, and all the others pay cost plus 50. Okay, that's interesting. Suddenly you get ahead of competition. Okay, this I'm not telling you anything new here, but do pay attention. The corporate would not get too greedy because the corporate wants you to succeed as well. Okay, so I've been talking about that beforehand, but you know, what's next? The future just ahead. I really love that photo. So you just go, you talk to the corporate. If you feel too intimidated, ask for an NDA. Just remember, if somebody wants to copy you, they would copy you, no matter you have signed. Most of us won't copy you. I told you, it's easier to buy than to develop. You know, you take all the risk, we enjoy all the benefits. That's a really good deal for us as a corporate. Remember, we have different views of the world depending where we are. So just do it, as I always say, and go and do it. Let's see what happened with IEC when we have done it. Okay, so I told you I have started in January 2020. In March, I was sent home with the rest of the company. And we've started for the first time ever, because I haven't told you, but IEC is almost 100% state-owned company. So in state-owned companies, it is not allowed even to commute from remotely. And so everybody was sent home. So suddenly we needed to look for infrastructure. We need to take care of people, to teach them to work from home. And I had no team in March. So today we are the sixth person who is the R&D manager. We're starting to do our own R&D soon, has just joined this week. So today we're 6. We have seen more than 250 companies here. I'm just looking at open innovation because I'm sure this interests you more than our internal entrepreneurship programs. We've seen 250 companies, a bit more. We've done in 2020 48 pilots and POCs, and 4 of them are already going into implementation in the company. So it works. Talk to corporates, people. Thank you very much. Any questions? We've got 1 minute left. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can send me an email asking whatever you would want to. Sometimes it takes me some time because I get hundreds of emails every day, but I'll answer you at the end. I promise that. Questions?
Maybe if I may, I would like to consult, because we have a different approach to working with corporate. Because first of all, we are a free flow hydropower plant, and so we also work in Slovak area with electricity providers, where we sort of sell electricity. When we are developing links for corporate that actually builds machines and builds boats to manufacture our product, that's different type of corporate. When we talk to cities, which is also sort of a corporate for their public functions that we can put on our hydropower plant. So far we have very good good feedback from working with corporate, and we learned a lot. So I just wanted to say thank you for your lecture, and I agree with what you said, that it's good to start early.
So it's good to start early or not?
It is good. It's good to start early. And one maybe question you mentioned, NL. And you talked about money and corporate. For example, NL has grant schemes for startups, which my colleagues might be interested in, and some corporates has these grant options, which is also very interesting in corporate. Do you have something like that in IC?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
I told you. Yes, I'm sorry. First of all, Enel is a really good company. Okay, we have a strategic partnership with Enel. They have started the innovation schemes 20 years ago, so they have lots of experience working with technology companies and entrepreneurs. So Enel is a really good company. They have accelerators and hubs, innovation hubs. They have everything. So it is really good company to start with. And obviously, for instance, if you join InfraLab, which is an innovation lab here in Israel, jointly launched by Enel and Shikun Uvinui, which is a construction company. And we work with them. They have an innovation lab, partly funded by the corporates, partly funded by the Israeli government. But you still need to let's say, give up some of your assets, which is equity, obviously. And so you have to decide if you would like in an early stage create such a meaningful partnership with that company. In some cases, yes. In other cases, that's why I said, I'm sorry, study your market. And I didn't say, never ask for money. I can tell you that out of those 48 pilots, we've been paying for most of them, even partly, but we understand that startup companies, have less resources. But I'm just saying, don't have that state of mind. Okay, that's all. Not just don't ask for money, but don't have that state of mind. That's not the most important thing. Okay. More questions? Thank you very, very much, everyone. Thank you guys for inviting me. And I hope to be meeting you someday.
Zviya, thank you very much. This was fascinating, I'm sure not just for me, but for everyone here. Guys, we still have a few more minutes, or if you have any questions, now's the time. If not, we will thank Zviya and let you get back with your day. Okay, so thank you very much again. Oh, before I forget, and before Tal will kill me, open all your cameras, please. Let's have our group photo. Cameras, come on, guys.
But we cannot see you. Your virtual.
Yeah, I forgot to open my camera, of course. Okay. So smile. Wait just a second. Yeah, you reminded me that he wants two kinds of pictures. We are all working for Tal eventually. Just a second. He's much well prepared than I am. Okay, this is one. Now with this. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. See you next week. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.